Today we're going to be talking about anger and the 5 different types of anger and asking the question, am I being godly in feeling this anger or am I being sinful? And how we can overcome the sinful so it doesn't overcome and overtake us. But first, welcome back to my channel. I am Sandra Lynn, and on this channel we talk a lot about faith, we talk some about fitness and parenthood and just a whole lot of life. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any content, and I would love to know that you have been encouraged, challenged, motivated, and all the things by what you've heard today. And don't forget to share if you want to share this message with someone else that may need to hear it. With today's topic, you might want to be a little bit more discreet about it because you might make someone angry if you share this video specifically with them because you feel like they need to hear it. So it can be counterintuitive. So be careful, but always be kind and always be humble. So let's get back to it. So we've got these 5 different types of anger that we're going to get into, but the key verse that we're going to use today that has inspired today's topic is found in Proverbs 29 verse 11. It says, "A fool gives full vent to his anger, but a wise man keeps himself under control." We have 2 different kinds of guys here. So I don't know about you, but I want to be considered the wise man. So we're going to work towards that. And in doing so, we're going to dive into these different types of anger, and we're going to figure out, what's godly, what's sinful, and how to overcome those. So we're going to look at the first one, explosive anger. This one is very common. You'll see that a lot out in public, on the internet. It seems to be running rampant amongst us, where with this, you'll see a lot of immediate outbursts, people saying everything that they feel without any reserve, without any filter, restraint. There's a lot of yelling, harsh words, emotional reaction. This one, we've seen this one everywhere. It's pretty bad. Amongst adults too. Now, I will say with our toddler, we're getting to the age where she's starting to, really let us know things that she wants and doesn't want, or things she likes and doesn't like. And when she experiences those, she gets pretty angry. So we're having to navigate showing her the ways of righteousness and into having a happy spirit rather than one of anger. And if you had any of your kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I would say that this is one that falls into the sinful category. This one is not a godly anger. And we are going to look at 2 Bible verses for this. Proverbs 14:29, where it says, "Whoever is patient has great understanding, but one who is quick-tempered displays folly." And then James 1:19-20 says, "My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires." So that lets us know what, the downside here, the sinfulness comes up, is they don't have understanding. There's folly. This quick-temperedness doesn't allow God to speak to us before we react. And that's where the sin takes place, is the action of the feeling. And when we don't allow God to speak to us first, to bring us back, we react in that initial feeling, and that turns into that outburst that is this feeling, this anger, is fits of rage. And then I love how it gives us the antidote for this, is that we should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become, so that we can become slow to anger. So just listening and not feeling like we have to quickly give an answer, is just to dial back, to, come to yourself, to let yourself. Yesterday, I'll give an example of this. Yesterday, ironically, I haven't felt this angry in a long time. So it's ironic that it just happened. Yesterday we were on our way somewhere, and just from the moment that I woke up, I felt like Satan was right there on my back. And then the events after that transpired was just dialing up, just cranking that heat up. And I was trying to call people to let them know plans had changed and that they needed to pivot with their plans. And no one was answering. No one was, returning my calls. Everything just seemed to go against me. And I was just getting angrier and angrier. And I haven't been this angry in a long time. I was hot. I mean, there's a stereotype that comes with redheads, and it tends to be kind of accurate. And just having to overcome some of that hot-headed, that anger that was just quickly coming up. And while, right before I got to our destination, I was just like praying. I was like, Lord, you're going to have to take my attitude. You have to take my anger, all these feelings that I'm feeling right now. You're going to have to take them and just take them. Just go away with them, because I can't do this. I can't walk into this place and be feeling this way and be feeling this anger and represent you well. So I just was breathing in, I was breathing out, and I was just trying to not react in the moment, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to react, but I had to pull myself back like our Bible verses here, and just breathe it out, take a step back, and be slow to act in those moments. So I did not want to become the fool here, as in our key Bible verse. I wanted to be the wise man, and if I had acted out on my initial feelings, I would have been the fool. So yeah, that this one here is a sinful anger. It is not righteous. It is not godly. And if you act out on it, that's when you are sinning. That's when you are not one of holiness. So this is one that we really have to combat and we have to overcome. So that one's pretty easy to distinguish between being godly and sinful. And then we're going to get into our second one, the suppressed, bottled up anger. This is one that never gets expressed, but still controls the heart. So it's kind of hidden. And this is where it gets kind of dicey, because, I'm someone that I do come back to myself. I do try to step back rather than act out in anger. And in that, sometimes it can be bottled up and I don't talk about it, like commonplaces, with my husband when we get frustrated with each other, and I'm trying to dial back. I'm trying to, think my way through my feelings, but then sometimes I just don't talk through. I don't express any feeling and any controlled feeling, or it just kind of stays in there. So I have to work through how to express the feelings in a godly way. So that one's can be a little bit harder. The description of this one, it avoids conflict. I used to be a conflict avoider. I still don't like conflict, but it's not as bad. But that one, avoiding conflict, I'm fine when you're not. My husband will tell you I am guilty of that one. And then emotional shutdown. I've seen some people that react in their anger that they just shut down and there's just no response. So we're going to get into our two Bible verses on this one, where it says in Ephesians 4:26, "In your anger do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry." This is one of the wisest advice that I've ever heard for married couples is, don't let the anger sit, when the sun goes down. You've got to talk about it. You've got to not let that fester, not let that bottle up, because, it will explode. It will come out. And then in Hebrews 12:15, "See to it that no one falls short of the grace of God, and that no bitter root grows up to cause trouble and defile many." So here it's saying that it could take root. It doesn't just stay, it becomes a part of, it becomes a permanency. So you've got to let that go. I've seen, my parents' marriage, it failed, and it's because that there was bottled up anger. There was a root that took place, and it just took over the whole thing. And it failed because things weren't talked about, things weren't expressed in a godly manner, and it just fell apart. So you've got to really, learn how to balance. I'm going to step back and, think my way through to allow holiness to guard my anger, and then also and then walk with expressing that anger in that holiness. So just trying to just pray for God's wisdom, pray for God's guidance in those moments, and you will fail, but you will get better. So take encouragement with that, is you will get better. And then we're going to get into the passive aggressive anger. I detest this one. Okay. So this one is in sarcasm, withholding affection, silent treatment, subtle jabs. I cannot take this type of anger. I've seen people do to others. The silent treatment is one of the worst. That's when my anger starts to flare up and I have to refrain from acting out or saying things in those moments when I've seen people act in this. It's dangerous because it's still venting. It's an action. It avoids responsibility of the emotion. It's a passive aggressive where it's like, I'm just gonna try to kind of avoid my feelings, but you're still acting on them. So it's dangerous. It's still it's unholy. It's acting out on your feelings. This one is sinful because God wouldn't want us to act out and be rude to other people. The two Bible verses with this one are Proverbs 10:18, where it says, whoever conceals hatred with lying lips and spreads slander is a fool. So here we have this word again, where the word fool comes up. I don't want to be considered a fool, so I am not going to conceal my anger, but let it slip out in how I treat others. So there's that one. And then the Proverbs 12:18, where it says, the words of the reckless pierce like swords, but the tongue of the wise bring healing. So with the sarcasm, with the subtle anger, with the subtle jabs that you give to people, those can really hurt people. The sarcasm, just think of your tongue as either being healing or destructive. And you'll be wise or foolish in what you allow to come out of, how you react, what you say, things like that. And then we're going to get into the righteous anger. Now this one, when we hear of righteous anger, we immediately think of Jesus and flipping tables in the tabernacle. So, which is good because that's what the Bible verse I'm going to reference today. This anger is anger towards injustice, sin, oppression. It's motivated by love for truth and not ego. So this one is kind of stripped of ourselves. It's not even self-motivated. It is anger towards, if you see someone hurting someone else, you're angry that, the person's being oppressed. There's the word. And then you want to see justice done for that person. So you're kindled towards that anger of, well, I hate that this is happening to this person, and I want to, it kind of leads to a solution. This anger is controlled, purposeful, and redemptive. So we're going to look at the Bible verse where it talks about Jesus expressing righteous anger in Matthew 21:12-13. It says, Jesus entered the temple courts and drove out all who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of the money changers and benches of those selling doves. It is written, he said to them, my house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers. So Jesus saw here that his temple was being turned into something it was never intended to be, and he was angry because he sees these leaders allowing it. He's seeing these leaders allowing his place of worship to be turned into just everyday marketplace, and that's not what his temple, his place of sanctuary, is supposed to be. So this is Jesus expressing the righteous anger. And I feel that too with seeing different churches and different styles of worship and things. It's more self-centered, and you get frustrated with just seeing certain things. So this one would be a godly form of anger. So then we get into chronic resentful anger. Doesn't exactly sound godly right off the bat. This is anger that settles in and becomes identity. The description of this is easily irritated, long memory of offenses, replaying old wounds. This again is something I could tie back to, there's marriages that you can see that fail because they hold resentment against, things that have happened over the years. They don't talk about things. There's a lot of lack of communication in this one, it sounds like. It's just the memory is where a lot of that festers. So that one can also be kind of hidden if you're not fully aware that it's there. It just feels like it becomes a part of your identity. So yeah, let's look at the Bible verses for that one. Ecclesiastes 7:9 says, do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the lap of fools. And then Colossians 3:8, but now you must also rid yourselves of all such things as these: anger, rage, malice, slander, and filthy language from your lips. So just get rid of those things. I know those can hide deep within our hearts and become ones that's there for years, but you can overcome them if you're realizing that, man, I've got some chronic anger. I've got some issues towards, some friends or family or my spouse or whoever, that you may be harboring those feelings, because those do become bitterness, and you don't want anything to turn into bitterness. And the scary thing with that too is it hardens your heart, and it can block the Lord from being able to speak to you, because that's what sin is. It separates us, and then just it blocks your peace. You don't have peace when you have this chronic anger that's been in there. It's been festering. So just get rid of it. It's not godly, it's sinful, and it needs to go. So looking through these different types of angers, you can look and see which ones you deal with the most, which ones you need to become more aware of. Pray that the Lord will open your hearts and minds to whatever, sinful angers that you're harboring in your heart or allowing to come out. With parenting, there's a lot of moments that, lack of sleep, the baby just cries and cries. And there are moments I've had to, pray through, like, Lord, help me, because I am, my mama meter is tapping out, and I need to give some grace. I need to just be led in wisdom, because like it said in Proverbs 29:11, a fool gives full vent to rage and anger, and a wise man keeps himself under control. So in those moments when you want to be angry, which is a crazy thought, because sometimes some people just want to live in the anger. They just, but it's not a good place. So just try to be a wise person here, because I don't want to be considered a fool. And when people see you acting out on your anger, whether it's, very blatant, it's very explosive, or whether it's more subtle and, kind of hidden, you're just kind of throwing things here and there, you don't want to be thought of as a fool. And I don't want you to be thought of as a fool. If you are a Christian and you are seeking to look like Christ, how we react and how we treat others is a reflection of God's work in us. And if we are allowing anger to be uncontrolled, unbridled, and just out there, then we are showing that, we're giving a bad representation of God. And that's not okay with Him. So that is what I'd have to say today, is walk in wisdom and not in folly, and be the wise person today. Don't be the fool. That's what I want for you. I want you to be considered the wise person. And I hope that this will help you the next moment that anger starts to flare up and you just need to be, I'm breathing in God, I'm breathing Him out. I'm breathing Him in, I'm breathing Him out. Let God take control, and start to see how God starts to shape you into looking more like Him and less like a sinful, angry person. So that is what I have for you today. Go out and walk in peace, walk in gentleness, walk in kindness, and just walk in the ways of the Lord today. And I will see you in the next video.